Good morning, everyone. Welcome to session 4, the final session of our fraud prevention block. Thank you being here as online today. We have come a long way together over the sessions, from recognizing scams to phone and email safety to protecting ourselves online. Today, we are going to talk about identity theft. What is it? How, how it happens, and most importantly, what you can do to protect yourself and recover it ever happens. Quick reminders, keep your microphone on mute. Feel free to share in the chat or raise your hands. I'm monitoring to the chat throughout and will pass your questions to our facilitators. Yes, let us begin, Dr. Vahabi.
Thank you. Let me share the screen. Right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining our fourth session of Digital Life in Canada, which focuses on practical skills for seniors and newcomers. And today we're talking more on using Canada Online Services safely. So again, today's story is about Miss Yang. As you know, she is a newcomer in Canada and now rented an apartment and bought a new car. And now she needs to apply for benefits like book a doctor's appointment, check her bank account online, file taxes, and renew documents. But one thing she noticed very quickly is many websites look almost identical. So her question was, how can she know which website is real and she can trust on? So this is the core discussion of today. The goal is by the end of today, you'll know how to find official Canadian websites, avoid fake websites, how to recognize fake Google search results, and use healthcare portal safely, book appointments safely, and know when AI can help and when it cannot. The idea here is today we are trying to kind of help you understand the basics rather than just going to each website and show what to do there. We try to learn all the required basics, which is applicable to any website you want to work with. Okay, so here the websites Canadians do things online most. The first one is CRA, Service Canada, some banking stuff, healthcare tasks. They also look for schools and insurances. They may need to kind of apply or renew their driver's licensing and work with some utilities and city services. So the thing is, almost everything in Canada can be done online. And most of Canadians need to use one or a few of these websites at least many times a year, right? So it means scammers know exactly where people go and they know where they can find people that are not very familiar with how safely they can use these websites. Okay. So hopefully today, if we learn the basics of how to safely use websites, then you can easily use any of these platforms and other platforms and websites without being worried too much on being scammed or frauded. Okay. So Let's start from the structural URL. I mean, many times in this meeting and the rest of the sessions of this course, you may hear from me that the URL is that, URL was that. URL is simply the address of a web page. Okay. For example, I mean, if you think of your physical address, you have a home, and then that home has a physical address, right? Now, if you have a website, think of the website as your home, it needs to have an address. And URL is the address of your website. Okay. Structural of the URL is something like this: HTTPS www.google.com. And we want to see what these terms refer to. Okay. And how and why these are important for us. So the first item is HTTPS, which refers to Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. What I mean, it means simply is think of the time you're behind your computer, you want to log into your bank account, enter your username and password, and then get the permission to enter your account and transfer some money. Okay. So you are with your behind your computer, you are the client. What you want to do is you want to open a browser like Google and then go to your bank account, log in, meaning you want to enter your username and password. What it does is your computer send the username and password to the web, to the internet, and then the web transfers the username and password to the server of your bank, and server of the bank checks whether the username and password matches or not. If it matches, it sends a message through the web to your computer that, okay, this guy is good to go, and you can enter your account and do your financial transactions, whatever you want. Okay, so this is how it works. Now, to send data like your username and password to the web and to receive that kind of data from the web in the server, and then or send some information, some data from the server to you, this data transaction, this data transfer is done based on a protocol. We call it hypertext transfer protocol. Okay. It can either be secure or unsecure. We'll discuss further in the next slide. But this HTTPS refers to how the data is going to be transferred from your computer to the server of a website, and then from the server of a website to your computer. Okay, that data transfer between you as a client and the website is done in a method which is called Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, so this is HTTPS. What this www is, World Wide Web Transfer. Okay, so I said your computer, you enter your username and password in your computer. Your computer send that username and password to the web. Web transfers the data to the server. Server confirm you're good to go and send a message through the web to your computer that, okay, you can use the website. You can use your account. So this web is the World Wide Web. We have other options as well, but most of us are only familiar with World Wide Web, which is shrinking to www here. Okay. And then we have the name of the website. Okay. If I have a company, this term refers to the name of my company. Okay. So Yahoo, for example, is another name you may have seen. which refers to the name of the Yahoo company. Okay, Google, Yahoo, or the name of your bank. Okay, so this part is the name of, refers to the name of your target website. And then we have this .com. We call it domain. Okay, now we have different types of domains. Um, and I'll explain why it is important to us. But first, let's look at some more common domains here. The first one is .com, which refers to commercial websites. Anytime you want to, let's move to the rest and then I'll explain the domain. So we have .net, which originally was developed for network providers, or .biz for business-related websites, .info for websites providing informational content, .edu for educational website, like for example, the schools and universities usually ends in .edu. .org refers to organizational website, usually non-profit organizational websites. .gov refers to US government websites, and .ca refers to Canada government website. Okay, meaning if I want to enter a Canadian governmental website, like for example CRA, I would expect to see .ca as the domain of the website. If I Google that government website, usually I find multiple options there. The one which ends in .ca is usually reliable because it refers to a kind of a government website. Okay. Now, one important thing here is when you, for example, you have a company or for any reason you want to create a website for yourself or for your company or whatever. Okay. So you design your website in a software. I don't want to go into the detail of that. And then you want to kind of make it alive in the net. Okay. What you need to do is you need to buy a domain for that. Like for example, if I want my company name ending .com, I would go to the seller of the .com domain, and then it asks me to enter the name of the website. Once you enter the name of your website, it checks to see if it is already used or not, if it is already registered or not. If it is already registered, it means there is another company or another business or whatever. There is another business with the same name already registered in this domain. So it won't let you register the same name. It asks you to change the name. This is good because if someone wants to make a website for frauding activities with, for example, with the name of CRA, it is not possible to create it is not possible to create it. It is not possible to create like another website with the name of https www.cra.ca. It is not possible because cra.ca is already registered. Okay. He or she may be able to register CRA with .com domain. It would be www.cra.com. Okay. But CRA.ca, since it is already registered, it is not possible to be registered one more time. And that's why usually one of the way those scammers try to kind of fool people is they try to make a name very similar to the name of a company, but not exactly the same. I'll explain it in a few slides later. But for now, what we learned is okay, when we want to go to a website and use that website, the data is transferred to the web and throw the web to my computer using a protocol. And this is the name of the web. and this is the name of the website or the company or the organization I want to work with, and this is the domain type of that website. That domain type is important. If you want to go to an organizational Canadian or Canadian governmental website, if you find an address which ends in .com, give it another thought. Probably it may not be legit. But if it ends in .ca, it is much more reliable. Okay, we'll discuss more. Now, let's see what this protocol does uh, and how it impacts the safety of our data transfer. Okay, so we have HTTPS or HTTP. HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. The way it works is you have your website visitor. You want to, for example, log into your bank account. Okay, you open your bank, you go to your bank website, enter your username and password into your computer. Your computer send the username and password to the web as a plain text. And then the web transfers that piece of information to your website server as a plain text. Your website server receives that piece of information and move on. Okay. As you can see, everything is sent as a plain text. So there is a problem here. If, for example, if you are in, like, for example, in an airport and you're using a public Wi-Fi, there is a likelihood that someone who is familiar with the detail of these data transfer stuff can sit there, use that public Wi-Fi, and keep an eye on the data which is transferred from your computer to the web. So if you send your username and password as a plain text, that guy can see your username and password and save it for him or herself. Okay, your data will be exposed, which could be frightening. Okay, that's why we call this HTTP as kind of insecure website communication. Instead of that, we have HTTPS, which is a secured website transfer protocol. And the way it works is you enter your username and password in your computer. Once your computer wants to send that data or your, like, for example, your username and password, the protocol encrypts your username and password, meaning it changes your username and password into a series of random characters. So if someone is here, try to look at the data which is sent to the web from your computer, what they see is a series of random characters which has no meaning. Okay, so your data is not exposed. Now, it encrypts your data, send it to the web. The web transfers your data to the server, and your server decrypts your data and see what you want to do. Okay, for example, your server decrypt your data, meaning it changes back to the username and password you entered, and see whether it matches or not, and move forward on that. Okay, so the good thing about it is the data which is transferred through the web, and it could be exposed to anyone, is already encrypted. So if someone look at your data, they won't be able to find the username and the exact username and password you entered, because, like I said, the data is encrypted. Okay, that's why we call it HTTPS, a secured protocol for data transfer. Okay, so this is good, meaning in any website we want to use, the first thing we need to look at is we should look at this protocol to see whether it is HTTP or HTTPS. If it is HTTPS, it is reliable. But if it is HTTP, I recommend not go through it. Now, the good thing about it is most of them, in 96% of the websites use HTTPS protocol now. The exclusion is like, for example, very old, uh, very old websites or frauding websites or whatever. Okay, so we need to look at this, make sure that the website we are entering is using a secured protocol for data transfer. Now, just FYI, I mean, reminder is what it does is control the data transfer to the web. It has no control on the content of the website, meaning there is a likelihood that a website is developed for frauding activities. There are some fake information there, and use this secure protocol. So whatever you enter, it is encrypted and transferred through the web to that website, which is for frauding activity. Okay. HTTPS controls how the data is transferred through the web. It doesn't have any control on the content of the website you're working with. Okay. So it's up to us to make sure that, okay, the data is transferred when it is, the data is secured when it is transferred through the web. But now I want to make sure that the content of the website I'm looking at is legit as well. We'll go into that. Okay. Now, the next thing about it is, before moving forward, I want to discuss shortly about the threats or malware, which is a short form of malicious software. We have heard about viruses, malware like adware, spyware, all these names. I want to very briefly introduce these malwares and then see how we can protect our system against them. Okay, the first one is a spyware. What it does is it sits on your computer and records your keystrokes, tracks your browsing history, takes screenshots of your device, and so on. And its main goal is to steal sensitive data like banking password, credit card numbers, personal identity information, and so on, and use it in future for whatever reason. Okay, they come back to you and say, okay, I have all this your information. Give me this $1 million to not expose it in the web, something like that. Okay, so this is spyware. There is another malware. I mean, we call all of them malware, but there are different types. The next one is ransomware. What it does is it sits on your computer and it locks out of your computer so you can't open any of your files. Okay. Then it pops a massive notification demanding payment. Like, for example, give me this number of tethers in exchange of a digital key to unlock your files. Okay. The next one is adware. What it does is it automatically throws unwanted, aggressive advertisement onto your screen, and this way it ruins your browsing experience. It could be very irritating, believe me. I mean, you want to browse on different websites, and instead you're just bombarded by ads in those websites. Okay, so this is adware. Next one is Trojan horse. What it does is it disguises itself as, it pretends as a legitimate safe software to trick you into installing it. Once you install that on your computer, like, for example, you may think that it is a helpful PDF reader. It's a game. It's a browser extension. So it convinces you to install it on your computer. Once it is on your computer, the Trojan opens a backdoor to let other malware like spyware or ransomware take over your system. Okay. And it also slows your device to a crawl. So Trojan horse is not a malware necessarily. It's not a malware itself. Rather, it goes into your system and then open the door and kind of discharge many different malwares into your system, into your computer. Okay. The next one is viruses and worms. The way they work is they're designed to replicate themselves and spread, meaning a virus hitches a ride on a clean file or program and relies on human action to spread. Like, for example, if you share an infected file with a friend, then once your friend opened that file, his or her system will be impacted by that virus as well. Worm is worse than that. It is more dangerous. It doesn't need human help. It exploits securely the flaws on your system to crawl through internet networks entirely on its own and infect the uh, computer after computer. Meaning they are all around the web. Once they find a flaw in the browser of your computer, like for example, you're using Chrome, you're using Microsoft Edge, you're using Firefox, any browser. Once you're using that browser to enter the web, if there is any flaw in your browser, these viruses and worms can find that flaw and enter your computer through that flaw. Okay, think of that flaw as a gate to invite viruses and worms. Okay, so we want to make sure that the browser we are using has no flaw, has no gate to welcome these viruses and worms. Okay, and we'll see how to. So these are all different types of malware we may have seen or may see in future. Now let's go to safety tips for our browsing. We already know how about the protocol of the URL, about the protocol of the URL structure, about the malware. Now let's see how we can protect ourselves against any problem when we are browsing. The first one is, as I said, confirm the HTTPS in the URL of the website you're working with. Okay. Next is practice the URL anatomy. Like I said, scammers can get a valid HTTPS certificate for a fake domain that look incredibly similar to the real name. Okay. For example, you have an account in Scotiabank. Okay. And this is the website of your bank. If I'm a scammer, what I would do is I would go to the .com seller and register this website, scotiobank.com. Okay. So as you can see, the name is very similar to this one with just only this simple difference. I would register this and make my Scotiobank website very similar to the content of this website. Now, you enter my website and you see that, okay, it's very similar to the Scotiabank. So it is my bank. Enter your username and password. But the problem is I am sitting on the other side and receiving your username and password and receiving money from you, everything. And you have no idea you are doing all these things in a wrong place. Okay. So what matters here, what is very important here is when you want to open a website, make sure that the dictation is correct. Make sure that you're clicking on a right link, clicking on a right, you're going to a right website. Okay. One important thing here is remember the other in one of our previous meeting I mentioned they send an email to you and say, okay, there is a there is a problem in your account. Just open your bank account through the link they share with you. Just go to this link to open your bank account and read the problem or solve the problem. Or just click on the link below to see the document which discusses the problem in more detail. All these type of things, okay? They try to put you under pressure to immediately click on a link. And then I would add this link in my email. You are under pressure. You don't verify the detail of the name of the website. Rather, immediately say, okay, this is my bank, so let's click on that. You click on this link, and that's it. It goes nowhere. Okay. It opens that gate to invite viruses or worms, or it lets the scammer to get all the information you're sending to so-called your bank. Okay. So just be careful on these name stuff. The good thing about these big companies is they try to kind of register all these different names for themselves. Like, for example, if it is Scotiabank, most likely if I go to, sorry, it should be CA. Most likely if I go to .com and want to register this name or register this name, all these things, it says it is already registered, meaning the bank already registered any single kind of version or deviation of its name to make sure that the customer won't be frauded. But still, you have to be careful on this naming stuff. The other thing is we call it subdomain trick. For example, a scammer might make a URL that looks like paypal.com. You use paypal.com many times a week even, right? And then you receive a message that, okay, there's a problem in the security of your PayPal. Just go to this link to check the problem. And the link is paypal.com.security-update-alert.com. So to an untrained eye, it is paypal.com. So I would click on that. But now what I'm saying to you is go to the domain, which is the end part of the name of that website, ignore that .domain. Whatever remains is the name of the website. So here, the name of this website is not paypal.com, rather it is paypal.com.security-update.alert. So the question is, if there is any problem with my PayPal account, why PayPal sent me something out of its own website? You see what I mean? It is not PayPal. It is paypal.com.security update alert, whatever, but it could be anything except for PayPal. It is not PayPal. So my question is, if really my PayPal account has any problem, okay, I would go to PayPal, but I would click on paypal.com and go to the security setting or whatever. I don't expect to see something like this, okay? So they call it subdomain trick because they include the name of the website, the name of the company, their long name, and try to kind of fool people to believe that, okay, this is part of this website, or this link is part of the big website. Okay, it is not. So that's what I call practice URL anatomy. Okay. The next thing is never click on a suspicious link, rather search yourself. So I receive a message, I receive an email which says, okay, there is a problem in your PayPal account. Just please click on the link as soon as possible and fix that problem. I would look at that HTTPS. Then I would look at the name of the website. If at the end I'm not sure whether it is legit message or it is a frauding activity, what I would do is I do not click the link. Instead, I would Google PayPal.com. I go to PayPal, enter my username and password, log into PayPal, and see if there is any problem with my account. I would see a notification in my PayPal account. I don't need to click on any link. Okay. So if you get an alert saying your bank account is locked, your Netflix subscription is failed, your package is delayed, whatever alert, and try to convince you click on a link, do not click the link provided there. Instead, open a fresh browser tab, manually type the company's name like Netflix.com. Go to your Netflix account and see what happened there. If the good thing is, if there is a real issue, you will see a notification of that once you log into your Genium platform. Okay. Now, I received this question many times that these days scammers are using AI tools to kind of prevent more convincing, let's say, uh, platform for frauding activities. How we can avoid it? Yes, that's true. But the good thing is, whatever AI cannot develop a new method of frauding. Rather, for example, they create this website and they use AI to make the content of the website very similar to your bank account. So if you go to this website, you can see that, oh, it is very similar to my bank account. So you trust more. AI can make the content of this website very similar to this one, but AI cannot develop a new method of frauding. Okay. So whatever I'm telling you is applicable to any scam activities, whether it is developed with the help of AI or not. Okay, don't worry about that name AI in your browsing activity. The other useful thing I would highly recommend is I would highly recommend you create bookmarks for frequently visited websites. Okay, and what it means is, let me share this. Um, yeah, let me share this one. Okay, so like for example, I usually use uh, CRA many times a week or whatever. Okay, so this is a uh, frequently visited website. Let me go to CRA. Okay, now first of all, I want to click on this link. I want to click on this page. This is the website. This is the URL. It starts with HTTPS. Good. www.canada. Canada dictation is correct. .ca. .ca is what I expected, right? So I would click on that. Now I want to make a bookmark for this website, and this way, instead of anytime I want to go to CRA, instead of searching the CRA and so on, I would just click on that icon. What I can do is I would click on this little star here, okay, and then it create a bookmark with this name. I would call it what, CRA. This is the name of the icon it is creating, where, and the bookmark. Done. See, CRA is here. Whenever I open my browser, I can see CRA as a CRA icon here, okay, with the name I specified for that. So instead of searching for that website, I can just click on this icon and it goes to CRA, okay? It creates a bookmark for me here. If you want to, for any reason, if you want to remove that CRA, remove this icon, go to the website, and then see the little star is blue now. Click on that again, and here you can remove it. See, it is removed. Now, it may happen that, like me, I have a lot of different websites that is used very frequently. So I don't want to kind of bombard my book. We call this piece of page bookmark. I don't want to bombard my bookmark with many different uh, icons. Rather, I want to kind of classify them. Okay. What I would do is, for example, here I have one folder with my full-time for the websites that I use for my full-time job. I have a folder here for my personal activities. Under that, like for example, some I have sorry, I have uh, a folder for my banks, for my home, for my healthcare stuff, everything. Okay, so you can create different folders and store the bookmark of your interest in those folders. The way it works is, again, go to the bookmark section, and here, instead of bookmark bar, go to choose another folder. Here, wherever you want to go, like for example, I want to create a subfolder under mine, my personal stuff. So I would click on mine and then create a new folder there. Okay. And then I can change the name of this new folder and then store my bookmarks in that folder. Okay. So you can do whatever you want here, like whatever. Yes. Okay. This is um, a folder I created. And I want to store the CRA link in that. I would save it. Next time, if I want to go to CRA, I would go to my test and CRA. Okay. So this is how I can create different bookmarks and manage my bookmarks here for, like I said, the uh, highly visited websites. It is a very good practice that you find a reliable website and store it. And next time, anytime, if you want to go to that website, you can rest assured that, okay, I'm using the right link for that. Okay. Now go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So this is how to create and manage your bookmarks. The next thing about it is keep your browser updated. Remember, I told you we are using different browsers like Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, or whatever, and they may have some flaws, some, let's say, open gates that welcome viruses and worms from the web. Okay, if there is those kind of, if there is any kind of flaw or there is any kind of gate, as I call, then your computer would be vulnerable against those viruses and worms. To avoid that, just make sure that you update your browser. The good thing about it is we usually receive some notification of, okay, most of the time browsers are updated automatically themselves. They don't even ask you for update. They update your browser. But sometimes we receive a notification that, okay, your Chrome need to be updated. If you receive this kind of notifications, don't postpone it for a later time. Immediately update your browser. What that update does is, these are big companies. They keep an eye on their code and the structure of their browser. Okay, like for example, if you're using Google Chrome, they continuously monitor the structure of the Google Chrome and the flaws, if there is any. If they find anything there, they fix it, and then they send an update to fix that flaw. So just by updating your browser, you can rest assured that, okay, there is no gate to welcome any viruses and worms without your permission. Okay. The next thing, the next safety tip is you can run a standard user account for daily browsing. Meaning, for example, you buy a laptop and you set it up, and then log in, and you can use your laptop. What it does is you're creating a standard user profile and you're using that. Instead, I can define or I can create a, let's say, two-layer uh, permission or two profiles. The first one is I can create an administrator account, and then I can create a standard user profile. The way it works is uh, I usually use my standard profile, and which has some kind of limitation on the permission of installing the software or anything, right? So anytime when you're browsing, if any virus or any malware tends to enter your computer and be installed there, it needs permission from the administrator of your computer. Okay, it needs a password entered by the administrator of your computer. So they cannot freely come in and be installed while you're browsing different pages. Okay, this way you can, you are the user of the standard profile and the administrator profile. You don't need to have an administrator necessarily for your computer. No, you are in charge of both profiles, standard profile and administrator profile. But I create an administrator profile and then a limited access standard profile. Each time, if I need to install a software on my computer, I need to go to the administrator profile, enter a username and password, and then my username and password as admin, and then install that software. So whenever I'm working with my standard profile, if any malware comes to my computer and wants to be installed without me being noticed, it is not allowed because it doesn't have the admin username and password. Okay. That's a good practice. The other thing is audit your browser extension. We often download extensions like ad blockers or coupon finders or formatting tools and forget about them. However, those browser extensions have vast permission and many can read and change all the data on the website you visit. So sometimes a benign extension is sold to a shady developer who pushes an update that turns into a spyware. Meaning, for example, someone creates an extension and you install that extension on your computer while you have no idea what it is. It sits there for a while calmly, and then at some point, that developer send the code to that extension and change it into a spyware. So I don't want to kind of make it frightening, but periodically open your browser extension setting and review the list of the extensions you accepted, and whatever extension that is there and you feel that it is not needed, just remove them. Where you can find the list of browser, again, in your Chrome, for example, to the right top, you can see this icon. This is your extension manager. You can click on that and manage the extension. And like I said, remove whatever extension you don't need anymore. Okay. And the last thing is whenever you're browsing, whenever you're logging to a website, once you're done, log out and close uh, the window. And don't save your username and password on public computers. Okay. For example, you're in your school, in library, or you're very often using public Wi-Fi. If you're this kind of user, I would suggest not save your password on your computer. Okay, that's this. Now, one other thing I want to share with you is now we know what threats could could be there against us browsing and learned how to just by uh, kind of following these 7 tips, we can rest assured that okay, our system is very good, uh, uh, safe, and we can safely browse different websites. Now about the content of the website. Um, Sometimes you just search it. I mean, Google something. Uh, like for example, you want to log into your bank account, so you know the website. You browse to the website of the bank, log in, and so on. But sometimes I don't have a specific website. For example, I want to go to Ontario and I want to find a good hotel there. Okay, so I Google 10 top hotels in Ontario. Once I search for that, sometimes you can see this sponsored results. Okay, what it means is if if you are an owner of a hotel in Ontario, Google reach out to you and say, okay, the hotel owner, I have a service. You can pay me, or let's say, in a better word, you can sponsor me. And what I do in return, I can make sure that if anyone search hotels in Ontario, the name of your hotel will be in the top list here. Okay. Now, if you pay Google, they make sure, like I said, they make sure that, however, I mean, whatever the user does, when they search for hotels in Ontario, the name of your hotel is there, is here in the top part of the search list. Okay. That's why they call it the sponsored results. So never assume the first result is official. Okay. I can make a fake website and sponsor Google or pay Google to include the name of my fake website in the top list. Okay. And then you search for that business, find my website and click on that. Okay. And go to a fake website. Okay. So never assume the first result is official. Never assume a sponsored result is the best result. Okay. What I would do is I would scroll further down, and after this sponsored section, I can find a list of results that come from not sponsored businesses. Okay. I would prefer, it is personally my preference, I would prefer to go to not a sponsored section and find the service I need in the non-sponsored section rather than the top list. Okay, this is this. Let's change gear to Canadian platforms again. We remember I said these are the websites, these are the things that most Canadians do online usually. Now we can easily go through all these websites and do whatever we want online without being that worried about the security of our online activities. Let's again share the this guy. Sorry, no, let's share. Great. All right. So we wanted to go to CRA, right? So I can search for CRA. Like I said, I would look at the HTTPS, the name of the website, and the domain. Everything looks good to me, so I would click on that. And then in the CRA, it suggests you can create an account. If you want to do that, you can just click on this sign in to create an account, or here both are the same. So sign in and register there and create your account. And next time you have your username and password to enter your account. And there are a lot of good resources here. Um, if you go to this menu here, there are listed under different categories. Like, for example, if you're looking for some jobs or workplace, if you're looking, for example, for benefits available to you, like, for example, disability benefits, public pensions, housing benefits, whatever. Uh, like, for example, benefit finder, family benefits, whatever benefit you are looking for, just go to CRA benefits. If you're looking for, like, so for example, if you want to do some taxing stuff, you can go to CRA taxes and then work on whatever you need. Um, get the business number, uh, work on your payments, whatever you want. Okay. So everything is uh, very appropriately categorized here. You can find whatever you want, or you can search for whatever you need, like, for example, employment insurance. If I search on that, it goes to, it, like, for example, in employment insurance and other benefits. If I click on that, it goes to a lot of good information that I may need. Okay. Now, um, now, if you want to work with, if you're working with CRA, you have some problem in your account or whatever, you want to reach out to them. If you scroll down, you can, here it says contact the CRA. So you can go to this page, and there are many different ways to reach out to them and get the required information, or talk with them, or send a question to them. All are available here for you. Okay, so this is good for CRA. The other tool, the other platform I would prefer to introduce is Service Canada. Again, it starts with HTTPS. The name of Canada is correct, and then the CA. This is the same platform. So you can see here, you can create your uh, My Service Canada account and have access to, like, for example, your employment insurance, your old age security, your social insurance number, SIN. You can have access to all these um, information. You can
Excuse
also
me,
go,
doctor.
yes, please.
Because this is very important, I thought I should mention it. CRA account is like a bank account. Like if you don't have a bank account, so for example, Scotia Bank, you cannot log in. You cannot log in. It is not like go and create a username, password, and login. Already you needed to have a bank account, for example, in Scotia Bank. CRA is like that. CRA, should already have something through government in that the website, then you can log in. Of course, to log in, most of the time, you need to contact them and get some information or update. But it is not, if I am Iranian, I'm not Canadian, I'm not a student in Canada, I cannot log into CRA.
That's right. I didn't want to go into the detail, but let me show you here. So if you go to this CRA sign in, it says, okay, you want to register for a CRA account? Okay, you need to provide all these information. It is not just go there and select the username and password. Rather, you need to provide some documents to like prove that you're Canadian and all other information needed first. And then after they're validated, they give you permission to create your account and use the CRA platform. Yes, that's true. Thank you. So here, the other useful uh, part is like, for example, if you go to immigration and citizenship, you have access to, like, for example, your PRs, your uh, citizenship information, your passport information. What else? Like, for example, if you're a newcomer sitting in Canada as a newcomer, you can find a lot of good information here where a newcomer may need to come to, I mean, to settle in Canada. And there are a lot of resources here that help you get the information needed for that settlement. Or if you go to business, I just want to kind of browse different parts to show you that whatever you may need, you can find in this platform. Like, for example, um, you can if you want to create a company, you can start a business, whatever you need for that, or whatever you need to know about the taxes of your business. If you need to get permits, license regulation, all are here. So you can find all good information in this platform. Sometimes I need to, let me see. For example, I'm in Toronto. I'm close to Toronto General Hospital. Okay. I want to go to the hospital and you can just search. And like I said, there would be multiple different pages here available. Just make sure about the URL, and then you can click on that. And as a patient, you can like, for example, find a doctor, whatever. You can pay your bill. You can access to the patient services. All these information are available for you. I mean, it's easy. You can go to your, for example, your COVID information, anything you need. You can just find in the right website. The most important thing is to find the right website, and then once you are in the right website, you can freely browse in the website without being too worried that, okay, there is a chance of uh, being hacked or whatever. Since the website is reliable, you can rest assured that, okay, everything is safe, and use the website. Now, you can also use AI tools for your daily activities. Like, for example, let me open one of my AIs. Okay. Like, for example, um, let me see, I listed a problem here to, okay, I need to renew my health card, but I need to find the official website for that. Okay. And I don't want to kind of go to a large list of different websites. Rather, I can use AI. I would just write, you internal and need to renew my health card. A official website. Okay. What it does is it searches the web and it gives you the sometimes it gives you the link here or just something to click on. I would prefer to receive the link, but if it is like this, you can click on that link, on that uh, hyperlink, and then just check the link provided. Again, it starts with HTTPS and it goes through Bing. I don't like Bing, but um, this is what I wanted to share with you. Um, sometimes here, um, sometimes you, uh, sometimes you uh, search something in your AI, uh, and it shares a link with you. Doesn't you don't have to? I mean, you shouldn't assume that any link provided in the AI is reliable. All those tips that I told you should be probed to click on a link that is provided by AI. Okay, don't assume that whatever AI provides is reliable first and is true. Okay, um, AI Gemini is like this. Whatever it gives you, it says, okay, this is my response, but you have to verify. Meaning, AI provides some response, but it doesn't guarantee that the result is correct. Okay. Most of the time it is correct, but you are in charge of verifying that result. So I don't have enough time to go into the detail of that. If you're interested in working more on AI and different aspects of that, just let the team know, and I can have a separate meeting just working on focus on working with the AI. Okay. So, but anyway, this is how you can use AI, search for whatever you want, and then verify the link provided and use that link to do what you wanted. Okay. This is this. This is also applicable for banking. Like I said, for banking, I would say schedule, for example. Okay. I would search for that and then make sure the website seems okay. I would click on that. Once I rest assured that, okay, it is my website, it is my bank's website, then I would make a bookmark for that, and then in future, whenever I want to use my bank website, I just click on the bookmark icon rather than searching again and again. And this is this. Go back to my slides. And I have some few reflection questions here just for you to make sure you followed everything I said. First question is Siang received an email, your CRA refund is waiting. There was a link in the email. What should she do? Now you have to be, and now you should be able to answer this question that she is not supposed to click on the link. Another one is Miss Sian search for CRA and Google showed two CRA websites. One says sponsored, the other one is not. Which one should she choose? Again, I told you my preference to go for the non-sponsored one. The last one is Miss Yang asked AI for a website and it gave a URL. Should she open it immediately? I explained to you that even if AI share a link with you, follow all I explained to you rather than just assuming that everything coming from AI is correct. Okay? This is a few action lists you have to be considered. You have to consider every time you're browsing. Check the URL. Never click on suspicious link. Rather search yourself. Create bookmarks for frequently visited websites and log out and close browser when finished. Just follow these simple rules and you can safely browse your different pages without being concerned about malwares and other problems. By that, I want to thank you again. Our next session will focus more on social media, fake news, and online manipulation. And again, I want to thank you and wish you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Charissa.
Yeah. What a wonderful session to close our fraud prevention block. Thank you so much to our facilitators and to all of you here this dedication throughout the session. Today we learned about identity theft, how it happened, how to protect yourself, and what steps to take if your identity is ever compromised. You now have a strong set of tools to protect yourselves and your families. In our next session, we begin a new block, financial literacy. We will focus on the safe banking practices and account monitoring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone. See
Thank
you
you.
in the
Thank you
coming
very much.
session. Bye.